Everybody minus here. We are in pre-show. How's it going, chat? I see Doom Turkey in there, Ex Mako, and Crinkled. What's up? We will get started here in about 5 minutes. If you haven't been on the show before or been here early, this is our little pre-show to let people know we're going live. We have about 5 minutes before we hit live. So if you need a drink, you need to go to the restroom. Now is the perfect time. On the screen, you're actually going to see some instructions as well. If Ex Mako makes fun of me all the time, Lux, because I don't say his name right, and I think now he's spelling it the way I say it. I don't say names right, Lux, so if you have the ability to say names, I may ask you to say someone's name if I've never seen it before. So,
okay, sure.
So if you guys are looking at the screen right now, just a little bit of instructions on how to join us. If you haven't joined our Discord yet, you're welcome to join. You can get there. The easiest way to get there is going to www.pantheon.plus. You can click the join Discord link in the menu. If it's a small menu, you'll see a hamburger menu in the top right. It's very dark. That'll bring it up. If you're full screen, it's easy. It just says join Discord. We also did add the link in the YouTube information. So if you're on the YouTube page, you should be able to click it from there too. The whole reason to join the Discord is just if you want to have another group of people to talk with during the week, or if you want to join the show live. And to join the show live, we have a voice room underneath our live room here that is called the Green Room. And we'll pull you from there if you're in there. So we'll pull you in. You can come talk on the show. We'll give you your time. You get to kind of give your opinion on our topic at hand. So I gave Lox the ability to get out of here with 1 minute left in case he wanted to like jump ship and be like, heck with this. But he's still here.
Yeah, I'm hanging around. I'll be here for at least another hour and a half if you need it.
There you go. For anyone who hasn't seen our show before, we do like to try to go a minimum of an hour. We will put an extra half hour into what we call overtime. And the only reason we do that is to pull people from the green room onto the show so you guys can discuss the topic. So once we go live here, we'll talk about the topic. We'll show some cool stuff. Yeah, should be a good time. Drinking a lot of water. A lot of water. We got a couple people who just joined the Discord. I love it. At Curved Johnson. Welcome to the Pantheon Plus Discord. And at KHL2K. Also in chat, Cerulean, welcome. Mushy. Mushy, yes, Code did stream today. And a little spoiler, we will show the teaser, the 2-minute teaser during the stream here today as well. And we will have all the footage from today kind of cycling as our little gameplay video that we put into the channel here. So you guys will see some of that if you didn't get to yet. Oh man, I don't want to say too much, Crinkle, but very much so. And Lox, if you didn't know too, we do stream at a ultra low latency. So that does allow us to be pretty close to real time here. Shouldn't be too distant from what we're seeing in the chat. So. Jeremy, welcome in. They're always going to... Think about it this way. They're always going to be working on the game, even when it's out. Is that fair? Can we say that? Does that make anybody feel better? We have 2 minutes till we go live with the actual show. I see people are starting to come in. We got about 25 people in. Thank you, everybody. Eishand, welcome. I say your name different, I think, every time I say it. Stands in Fire, howdy. Stands in Fire, I thought your name was something else. Didn't you change your name from Stands in Fire? I remember that a long time ago. We have 1 minute. Uno momento. No beer tonight, though.
Yeah, I had half a beer like an hour ago because I didn't know if it was going to help or hinder the performance tonight. So
this is probably the only time in the history of our show that I am not drinking alcohol. So I can't be blamed for how this goes.
I was about to have a glass of red wine with me to match you, but
that would have been good. I've literally drank 3 bottles of wine in the last 2 days. So, all right, it's 9 o'clock. I'm going to go ahead. We're going to fire this sucker up. So here's your viewer warning.
Oh, we're live? We're streaming right now? Cool. Awesome, man. Let me just,
Dans notre quotidien, c'est sur Terre où... Pantheon plus action.
Everybody, Minus here from Pantheon Plus, and tonight we are talking about some fun stuff. But before we do, I do want to thank everybody who is here and who will come in or who watches this on demand. Thank you guys for supporting us. The community has been amazing. Episode 12. This is awesome. We're in double digits, working our way towards 20, and you guys are absolutely phenomenal. The last few weeks have been some of our biggest shows. I thank you guys for that as well as VR, who has stopped in and come out of the shadows. Apparently they do watch the shows. They just never commented. So you guys pulled them out of the shadows. You guys made Joppa want to talk. I love that. Keep it going, guys. That means they are listening. They're listening to what you put in chat. They're listening to what you say on the show. And if you haven't been on the show or seen us before, you guys got to jump into the green room. Once you're in that green room, it tells us that you want to come on air. So just pay attention for your name when you're in the green room, because we may pull you on and it'll be your chance to talk. So tonight, I'm super excited to have a fellow Rainborn guildie here with me, an amazing streamer, a guy I've known for a little bit of time here. And his name is Lox. So Loxxulus, let's say it full first. So Loxxulus.
Yes, Loxxulus. I go by Lox. I go by Lock. Also,
I'll probably call you Lox most of the night because I know that my S's will start to go crazy if I am. Well, I'm not drinking, so I might actually be able to call you Loxxulus all night. But so Lox, before we jump in, I always like to give our co-host a chance to kind of talk about what they do, so you can introduce yourself to the community for those that may not know you and how they can find you. So why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself?
Sure, I'm Loxxulus. I started streaming back in January of this year. I mostly stream retro RPGs. Like I streamed, I played through 5 different Final Fantasy RPGs earlier this year. Chrono Trigger. I'm playing Dragon Quest VIII right now. I'll be a full-time Pantheon streamer once the game launches, or in the beta or alpha, whenever we're allowed to stream that. And I'm on Twitch and I'm on Twitter at Loxxulus.
Yeah, guys, make sure to check them out. One of the big things with the different streamers that are in the Pantheon Plus community, or in the Pantheon community in general, and you guys will be able to talk to Lox in the Discord as well as Surfer Dave and some of the others that are streamers. You know, they, as a full-time streamer, they don't have the ability to stream Pantheon right now. So there's nothing they can do to be like, hey, Pantheon, other than, you know, jumping into conversations and hopefully getting onto shows and chatting with me here and being annoyed by me. But what's cool is I want to make sure you guys know who these people are now. So go and check them out when they're streaming on Twitch or wherever they stream, so you can kind of get an idea of what their content's gonna be like, because you may be able to fall in love with a streamer and then jump right into a streaming Pantheon, which would be awesome. I'd love to see that for the community, for you guys to get to know some of these people. So Lox, thank you so much for introducing yourself to the community, coming on tonight to talk with everybody. I know you're also friends with Surfer Dave, who's also one of our Rainborn guys, so you guys share a lot of the same crowd and talk to different people, so that's awesome. So is everybody, before I begin, levels sound good for everybody? Let's get that out of the way here. I think we're good. Is everybody hearing Lox well, hearing me okay tonight? We good to go? And with that, once we get an answer here, sounds good. Jeremy says, thank you, Jeremy. What do you guys think about us starting? Let's go ahead and show the teaser, and then we'll talk about tonight's show. So here you go. Here is the teaser that came out today, direct from Pantheon. I want to thank Pantheon and CohhCarnage for all the footage you're going to see for tonight's show. But let's go ahead and let's watch it.
I think there's supposed to be audio for the teaser.
Is it not playing? It is. I think it's playing on the channel. We're just muted on that.
Oh, sure.
Awesome. So there it is. That's for everybody to check out and see right there. It's good stuff. Good stuff.
Yeah. That's good stuff. So there were 2 video reels. Do you have the other one that was going? It was a longer one, maybe like a minute and a half long.
Yep, of showing all the different things within it. So it's actually
there it is.
Yep, right underneath us there. So it's actually a little bigger than it should be.
Now.
So let me fix that before we jump into the topic here, because I don't want that to look bad. That's our gameplay. That's what looks sweet. I know I fixed it, but apparently my computer didn't care. So let's go ahead and fix that real quick. So you guys can see the full beauty of that. So there it is. So we're gonna have the full kind of cut and trimmed it up a little bit so you guys can see some different stuff there. So that's there. Okay, so if you didn't notice, our topic tonight's going to be the CohhCarnage stream, the reveal, some of the details we saw, and the meter tonight is very simple. Were you pleased with the content? So at the very bottom, you weren't pleased. In the middle, it wasn't bad, but you want more. And at the top, great reveal. So, Lox, the way this typically works is I'm going to take over the cam here for a few minutes. I'm going to go into detail. I'm going to rant and rave, I guess you'd say, and I'm going to set my meter. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to hand it over to you. You're going to take over the full screen. I'm going to give you the same amount of time to rant and rave about what you thought. And then we'll kind of come together, talk a little bit about it. We'll talk about what's going on in the chat. And then from there, we'll start bringing people in from that green room. So if you want to get on the show tonight, get in that green room. Right now, we have Booch in there, Elbrus in there, Theric, Thorndeep, and Tolander in there. All you guys will be able to be on the show. We'll get you in order. I'll give you some shout outs here in a second. So let's go ahead and I'm going to take over here, Lox. I'm going to take over the screen and go into this a little bit in detail. So here we go. First, I got to say that trailer that we watched gave me the chills. It still gives me the chills. But when it went live on the CohhCarnage stream, the environment in Oldwood, as they called it, just was absolutely stunning to me. It blew me away. The foliage, the colors, the beauty of the graphics, how alive the world looked was absolutely incredible. And if we've seen a lot of different streams in the Pantheon era, the development here, it was a little flatter at times. I think in the stream prior to this, we saw that lighting took a huge step forward. I just think that when you look at the entire reveal today, that trailer that we showed in the theater scene there, I think really, I know it was short. I know there's a lot of people that wanted to see more, but I absolutely loved it. That was an amazing minute and a half to 2 minutes, whatever it was. A little bit of teaser there for a raid at the end, but that initial little drive through the forest I thought was incredible. And then we got into some more things. So, he had the images you're seeing, we've all seen before, but a nice little cut reel showing all the different things we've seen so far during the development of Project Fairtale. I like how they put together some of the 3D models. Again, nothing new there, but it was just a nice little backdrop that I stole and have up here now. And then we got into talking about the perception system, which I liked. I think there's still a lot to be seen with how it functions, but I do like that they're focusing on making it part of the interface that isn't distracting. I am a extraordinarily minimalistic MMO player when it comes to the interface. So in WoW, for example, I ran about 30 add-ons, but they were all made to make everything as small and compact as possible and only when I needed it. So the big thing is I like that in the perception system, it's not going to be something that's just super intrusive, but it's going to feel right. And it's weird because I'm sure there's a lot of people, when I was watching it, I was thinking to myself, there's going to be people like me that really like that. And then there's people that aren't like me that are going to be like, this is stupid. But I got real into showing the little details of how the ethereal effects around the bar looked, the difference between a standard chat box and one with perception, just these little things that make it different as you begin to be a keeper, as they put it. And I really like that. I liked it a lot. But then I got to be honest, the trailer stole the show, but the runner-up was Jared Pullen. I don't know if you're super, if you guys tell me in chat, I don't know if you guys are super into the interface pieces that he was showing. Again, I just said I'm into interface stuff, so to me it was pretty interesting. My OCD as a Photoshop designer, when he had everything layered on top of each other made me like cringe a little bit. I was getting nervous, like as he was unhiding everything. I was like, maybe there's something hidden underneath. So all the layers and how we just kind of threw it all together to show us in one stream like that was interesting, but it made me like claustrophobic. But at the same time, I really like how much detail they're putting into really small pieces of the interface. And regardless of what he showed, and he scared everybody half to death with the bat and the loud noises, which I laughed. I don't know. Everybody said they were deaf, but I actually I loved it. I laughed and threw it out there on Twitter already. But what should have stood out about that is his passion. He was so passionate in his delivery. Everybody was calling him the Bob Ross of Pantheon. I absolutely adored the way he talked about things that maybe a lot of the community would find minuscule, but to know his passion in these small details and how important it is, and talking about the concept of design, and it was really, really refreshing to hear such a passion in somebody who's doing something that's often overlooked, like an interface. So I really like that. So that's my rant and rave. I'm going to go ahead and set my meter here. And then I'm going to turn this over in a second, but I'm going to say that I was really satisfied. I'd like to see maybe a little bit more, but the thing for me is that you're going to see something new every 2 weeks. We can't have it all. If we have it all, then next week we're going to complain. So it has to be small doses that are good. And literally that trailer in itself, I'm actually going to move it up a little bit more than I have it right there. So I'm going to move it up about there. So Lox, what I'm going to do now is I'm going to shift the screen over so you take over. I'm going to let you talk about your thoughts on the stream today. Share with us what you were thinking when you were watching it, what stood out. And then when you're done, we'll move that red meter up to wherever you want to move it to. So
okay.
It's all you, my man.
Okay. Yeah, hey everyone. I think Visionary Realms is on fire this past month. 2 weeks ago, we had a huge reveal for the racial innates and everything that they get. And then today was the second ever video newsletter. And we got to see, so Project Fairthale has been in the works for a year, maybe something like that. And we got to see from concept art to a in-game screenshot to the actual in-game graphics with a camera moving with about 4, maybe 5 players, pointing and interacting with the environment and moving through. But seeing the concept art to the actual 3D graphics, it blew me away. It was so much more amazing than what I thought it was going to be, and the light effects with the different colors, it looks like a world I want to be in, and I can't wait to be in there. Yeah, so the UI, I was really scratching my head with his name is Jared, right? Was it Jared?
Yeah, Jared.
I was really scratching
Poland.
I was really scratching my head when he came on, and just like you said, Minus, he had the UI with all this stuff everywhere, and I'm thinking, okay, what on earth is this guy doing? What is going on? Okay, this cannot be. Why would you present it this way? And then he started pulling back the layers because he wanted to just troll us a little bit. And when he pulled back the layers, it was something really clean, really crisp, and like what you said, Minus, you can tell he's really passionate about it because he zooms in a little bit and he's like, I didn't want to make it plain, but I wanted to give it something. In just the chat box, you can see it has this really cool glowy, smoky effect, but you probably wouldn't notice it if you're just playing the game with it full screen. But when you really look at the little details, it's really cool. It's just a really cool feature. And the Visionary Realms team is all about those little details, and that's why I'm so excited for this. And I called him a troll, and yes, there was another kind of a WTF moment, kind of what is this guy doing? He had this animated bat screech and blow up on the screen, and it's kind of like it was wow factor, and it was also just kind of odd, and it was kind of just, this guy's really fun too, you know. So
Yeah.
I thought him pulling something like that off was pretty cool.
That's awesome. All right, so where do you want to put that meter before we jump into some of what's going on in the chat?
Let's see. I thought it was a great reveal. I like to be a little harsh, so I want it just under that black line. I want it just touching the black line, right? Yeah.
Perfect.
Yeah, it was right at great reveal. I mean, I loved it. Yeah.
Awesome. So we got to see some other things too, and then we're both going to go on screen. So it's just kind of open format, and we're gonna jump into chat. And then I know that I'm not sure if they went in, because I know that Booch and Elbrus were actually talking to each other prior to the show starting. So I'm gonna try to pull Booch in. Booch, if you're there and you're listening right now, unless you want to tell me you don't want to be in here, you're going to be first. So then we'll go with Elbrus next, and then Theric will be after that. So that'll be our first three that'll come in. But before we do that, we also saw the the teaser was really building up the whole new logo design. So the ideas, where were you at with the whole teaser Twitter thing that they were doing? Were you? What did you think?
Talking to Booch?
Yeah, no, to you. I haven't pulled Booch in yet.
Oh yeah, I mean, on that part, I would drop the meter down a little bit about but it's not about that. It's about what was on the stream today, and when we saw the new Pantheon logo reveal, I thought that was cool. I thought they kind of hyped it up a little bit more than what it because I mean, but they did it right though, because it had people talking. I checked it on Facebook, I checked it on Twitter, I checked it on Pantheon forums. People were talking about it, people were sharing it, people were wondering what's going on, people were getting pulled in, more interested. It did bring that hype, which is fantastic. And then it's like it's
tough, right?
Okay, like
it's really tough to build hype, because there's always gonna. You can be from their end, they're really excited for the stream. They want to hype up the stream. They're building hype. But from the theory crafting community, they're building it up to be so big that you start to sit there as a developer and be like, did we do too much?
Yeah, I thought, is it a planet? It could be as big as a planet. It could be as small as an atom. Maybe it's the atom where all life is spawned. No, it's the O in Pantheon. But it could be more. Maybe there's more to the story.
The one thing I will point out,
shape of it or something.
Basgrim did a really good job of zooming in on that logo, and he circled all the little stars around it. It's very obvious to me that the little stars around Terminus, which is that middle planet, are all the 9 races of planets, distant stars where they came from. So I do like some of the intricacies of it, but yeah, it's a logo reveal. It does look awesome. I now have a collector's edition t-shirt that has the old logo on it that everyone complained about, but now I will sell this to you guys.
I have it too. Okay. I can't believe I didn't wear it right now.
So I will sell this to someone on stream for $500 so I can up my pledge. So it's a collector's item, right? No, I'm just kidding. The logo reveal was pretty cool. And I will tell you, I don't want to lose my privilege of talking to VR on the side here and there. It's nothing fancy. I'm not trying to drop names, but I did talk to one dev who's was really excited for all the pictures. He did say, I really hope we didn't overhype it. But that's the value of the community. The community is going to do whatever they want to do. They have to put it out there, and it's going to create a life of its own. So I thought they did a good job. And like you said, for 2 days, we were all going crazy over that. So what are you going to do? So let's go ahead. I'm going to jump into the chat real quick here, because we've been talking for a little bit. I just kind of want to go through, say hi to some people who jumped in, and talk about what everybody's kind of saying here. So let's see here. Everybody liked the music from the trailer. Had a lot of people say that. The longer one just said pledge. Yeah, I took that out of the end of it just so you guys didn't have to say here. But yeah, so at the end of the one that they put out there, it just simply says this, the more we pledge, or the more pledgers that back this game, the quicker the game's going to get to where it needs to be. And there's a misconception with that right now. They don't need more money to finish it. They need more money to be faster, to hire more people. They're going to finish the game. It's just a matter of when, which, we got to be patient. But the more people that they can attract, that they're going to do that. And the other thing too is they've done a really good job of hyping this. So maybe they got a lot of pledges today, or they're driving more pledges, they're getting more eyes on it. That's why they use someone like CohhCarnage. So Mushy saw the rat people for the first time. That was shown a while ago, but there were a lot of people in the chat I was in who were like, is that new? It is a pretty cool picture. Now people are saying they want to play the Ratanga again from EQ2. Did you play EQ2, Lox?
I played a little bit. Yeah, I had like 5 level 20-ish characters, but that's the highest that I got.
Kind of feeling everything out. I feel like
yeah.
Yep. Actually, when I played EQ2, which was for a very short period of time, and it was in the recent relaunch where they did the retro server, I forget what those are called. But I played a Ratanga rogue. Actually, it was pretty fun. Let's see here. Sean, I never say his name right. It feels so bad. Sean said tickled pink, but always want more. Of course, yeah, all of us do. Mushy says they look good. Monkey Pit said it gave me Old Wood. I have to read it. I mean, it was funny. It's called Old Wood. Said it gave him, yeah. All right. So Thorn Deep replied immediately after, I'm not going to touch that one. I wouldn't really recommend it either. Then there was a lot of discussion on how people say Fairthale. How do you say Fairthale, Lux? Am I the same way I do or different?
So the Faer, fair, Thale, Thale, Fairthale.
Okay. So we're in a. So I am, at least by your standards, I am currently saying one thing correctly on the show. All right, sounds good. So then there were a ton of people that were talking about how to say it. The bloat bat was awful. I don't know. I got a kick out of it. It was his giddy demeanor in doing it. Like, he was just giggling.
What was going through his head is just like, you know what? I'm doing this no matter what. I'm doing it twice.
Well, well, the funny part about it is like you had said how he showed a video. It wasn't even a video. He literally, if you noticed, because I clipped it. So in clipping it and pulling it out so that I could make like a transparent version of it. I put it on Twitter. I said, here's a thing of nightmares for everybody. But so I could do that. I was going frame by frame in the video, and it actually pops up. It was an invisible layer. And it was simply a layer in Photoshop. So all the goofy moving around, it's even funnier because he literally clicked on it and was dragging it around the screen.
Oh my gosh.
Which makes it so much funnier. I think, he's climbing the ranks for me after hearing him talk once. And I know a lot of the VIPs actually got to interact with Jared quite a bit. They said he had kind of been dark for a little while. So a lot of the VIPs already know Jared, but he's awesome. We need more Jared. We need more Brass. We need more Joppa. There's a lot of people that we need more of. So everybody kind of complained about the bat. Everybody said it was awful. My ears. And a lot of that. So let's see here. Mako said, I was expecting more pictures, but he's content. Jeremy says, pretty much right with me, but he needs a little more. Okay. Mako, you just won me over. He said it was practically a dad joke. Perfect way of putting it. The bat was a dad joke, without a doubt. Chris Kane says, I guess I'm in the minority about the stream, but I feel underwhelmed. No, you're not. Trust me. There were definitely a lot of people in the different Discord communities that were underwhelmed. That's fine. This show's not just about being all super excited. That's why it's called Pantheon PlusYou. So if you want to come on and talk about things that you were hoping for more of, I mean, let's do it. Just be respectful, because I don't want to have to mute you. That'd be making me be like the PC police would suck. So just be professional. Come on, tell us. Let's see here. Is VR uploading the stream? They will. I think that with the crash of CohhCarnage stream, go figure, right? Poor VR. The guy who never crashes.
And the Pantheon website crashed.
That's a good thing.
Did you see? Yeah, that's a great thing.
Yeah, that's a huge bring up. So
it's back to normal now. But when CohhCarnage shared it, hey, yeah, here's the link to their website, the homepage, and then you couldn't access it for a short period of time, but it was really cool that it got crashed.
Yeah, that's not a bad thing at all. Get more people onto that site. Hopefully we got some more pledgers. And that's, you know, in as a content creator, there's always been the feeling, and I think, I'm not going to speak for everybody, but I think a lot of us have been like, oh man, I wish we had a little bit more. I wish we could work with VR and do some exclusives. And I get it, right? CohhCarnage is a massive following. He's earned his following. He's done it through great community, positivity. I mean, he's the perfect community matters guy who has a huge audience. So that's why, I mean, if I do a huge release stream or Basgrim or anybody, we're going to get a ton of people, but it might be a lot of people already in the community.
Oh, come on, let's get down.
So,
Come on, everybody.
Hugh
Check me out,
Yates,
I'm
thank you.
dancing. I'm
We got the
dancing.
claptrap dancing for the sub. Thank you for that, Hugh. So, you know, I get it why Co's on there, and I think he's been a great ambassador for the game as well. So it was pretty interesting to see not only his stream go down, but to see the website go down, as you brought up. That's a great point. But I think, someone just said it, so I don't mean to steal you. Cerulean, I think it was. There should be a Twitch replay up. So if you go to Twitch and you go to Co's channel, you should be able to check it out there. But I do know for a fact that all the content will be updated to Pantheon's YouTube. So just keep your eyes out for that over the next couple days. Let's see here. Follower account on VR Twitch earlier today, and an hour ago after the stream went up 700. So that's for Pantheon. That's cool because they're going to be running a lot of those on their channel. It's not just going to be through other people's channels. So they went up. That's awesome. And I think, correct me if I'm wrong, chat or Lox, I think they were up almost at 10,000 views during the stream.
So I think the average was about 8,000, but I said out loud, "Oh my gosh, 10,000," and then it crashed.
That was it. You couldn't. 10,000.
It hit right around 10,000, and then the stream crashed for It felt like forever, but it was probably only 60 seconds. I don't know.
Yeah, it wasn't very long. He was back up pretty quick. But yeah, definitely you saw the viewer count go from that approaching 10K to about 6, and then it started working its way back up. I think it hovered around 8 to 9 for the most part. Some people in the chat were asking that. Thorndeep said, I'm really glad that I just learned about Pantheon 2017. Yeah, you know, some people who look at me and say I'm white knighting or I'm always positive, keep in mind, I've only been following the game for a little over a year. So for me, it's been a little easier, right? So I'm a noob. Okay, cool. So Lox, are you ready to take some people bring some people in here and have them chat?
Yeah, let's do it.
All right, so Booch, if you're there, you're going to be the first one on tonight on Pantheon PlusYou. I'm going to give you about 1 or 2 seconds here before I pull you up. If you're ready, we are good to go. So here comes Booch. Hey, Booch, you're on live. Are you there?
Yes, sir. What's happening?
Awesome, man. Welcome. So, the floor is going to be yours. I'll cue it up a little bit, but tell us what you thought about the stream. Any questions you have? Was it good? Was it bad? And we'll let you move the meter around. So the floor is yours, man. Let us know.
I thought it was adequate. I mean, I know people are always looking for more. They always want. I mean, people were obviously disappointed there was no gameplay, but the perception system's looking. I mean, it's looking good. The little 15-second snippet they showed us. I mean, it's beautiful. But you're never gonna satisfy everybody. That's basically the way what it boils down to.
Well, the other thing too, right, is if you walked away from it like, "Oh, I'm good," that's not good. They want people to want more. That's kind of the whole game, right? I think all of us are always gonna want more. So.
Yeah, I mean, you're gonna want to be wowed, but they had to follow up from the last stream, and the last stream was so, we were waiting for so long for something. After the last one, everyone was in a furor. It's like, wow, the racial abilities are out, the passives are out. So then this one, it was kind of like the air came out of the balloon. It's like wah, wah. But I mean, hey, they can only give you what they got. You can't expect blood from a stone.
And they also, I think there's been some of the communities talked about this in a positive and a negative way, is that if they're going to do every 2 weeks, that puts a lot of pressure on them to have something worthwhile every week. So they can't blow it all on one. Yeah, right, Lox? Like, I think we'd even talked about that in the Rainborn Discord quite a bit. Like, can they do two times a month? That's a lot.
Yeah, I was thinking the same thing. That's a big. Yeah, you're right. It's just a lot on their plate to appease the masses.
Yeah, but they're going to do it, right? I mean, So, Lox, I mean, you can speak to this very heavily. There were a lot of different little complaints in the community, but a lot of them were around transparency. I mean, if you're someone who complained about transparency, now granted, we've only seen a couple of streams, but do you agree it's hard for me to support that mindset because now we're seeing content every 2 weeks? Do you agree, Lox?
Yeah, well, yeah, so I kind of don't know how they're going to pull off the 2 week thing and keep it really juicy content. I mean, the reveal 2 weeks ago with the racial innates is amazing, and people can do their theory crafting. People can, the content creators can create content, and but I don't know how they're going to do it every 2 weeks and have it instead of just showing lore and artwork anymore. They're going to have to show some gameplay next. Or a bard class reveal, a necromancer.
There are a lot of things.
Did someone say bard?
Going to be the big one.
Did you say bard?
Did I hear
here.
bard?
There you go, Lox. Look what you did.
Yeah, sorry.
I was told there would be cake and bard.
So yeah, but you kind of brought up a good point. There are a lot of locked in little things they have that if they spread out. Now here's the funny part. They could have taken all those racials and they could have put it into 2 different weeks. Right? So
right.
They blew it all at once, which is fine, and everyone loved it. But, when it comes to the actives, maybe just do half and then half for actives, or maybe you have the showing of in-game Scar, the showing of in-game Darkmere. There's a lot of juicy things the community wants that they can spread out if it's available. It has to be available in the development timeframe, so...
Yeah, and I think that's why our meters here are really high, because if this is something
Hold on, I gotta stop you, Lox.
2 weeks.
I gotta stop you. We just had a showing in chat from Chris Perkins. Booch, this is important. I don't know if you saw what he just said.
Oh gosh.
He said
I went out of the screen to YouTube screen.
All right, you ready? He said, "What's a bard?" So Joppa trolling the bards a little bit in there.
Joppa, a bard is a guy that will find you.
That's awesome. All right, so Booch, I want you to move this meter, or keep it there. You do what you want to do. You want to move it up, you want to move it down, you want to keep it where it's at. Where were your thoughts?
I would say I would go, actually, the last I looked, you guys had it high. You had it almost all the way up, right? I would go down more towards wish I had a little bit more.
Okay.
Isn't that the one tick below the map?
Sure. So I'm going to bring it down a little bit, and as more people are going, it'll be a little less moving, so we try to center it in between everybody, and then at the end, we'll adjust. Booch, it was awesome having you on. I think it's your first time on the show, right?
Yes, sir.
Hey, awesome stuff, man. You've been awesome to talk to in the community. Thanks for joining up, and hopefully we talk to you more in the future.
All right, brother. Take it easy.
And go find Joppa. That's awesome. What's a bard? All the bards right now are like, no. Okay, so that was your first guest. You're on Pantheon PlusYou. We got our first guest on. Fun times, right? Moved the meter down a little bit, but he was pretty positive. I think he was pretty positive. What do you think, Lox? All right. So,
I think that transparency and keeping this level of hype is just going to be hard. You and I were really giving with the meter here, because if this is the kind of content we see every 2 weeks, then I would consider that a great reveal. That's a great stream. Are we going to get this kind of juicy content every single 2 weeks? I think that's going to be really difficult to do. But we'll see.
So Sacred also jumped in and said, right, on What's a Bard, and then don't worry, everybody. Chris Kane jumped in. Yeah, for those of you that don't know, Sacred used to be a part of Rainborn, a major part of Rainborn. So now everyone in Rainborn says, who's Sacred? So don't worry, guys. Chris jumped in. Chris Perkins jumped in because Chris Kane, I'm pretty sure Chris Kane was already picking up his weapons when he said, don't mess with bards. So Chris Perkins said quickly, don't worry, we love bards. Last thing he needs is crazy Chris Kane coming after him. So, all right. So what we said before is the second person on the show tonight is going to be Elbrus. So Elbrus, you are up next. We're going to give you a couple seconds to get ready here with the tiny bit of delay that's in our stream. I'm going to pull you up to give us some of your feedback. So Elbrus, here we go. Hey, Elbrus, how are you?
Hey, how you doing?
Doing good, man. You can hear us okay?
Yeah, I'm fine.
Yeah, you're coming through great. So, hey, the floor is yours. You kind of know what's going on if you've been watching the show. Tell us a little bit about what stood out in the stream to you, what you liked, what you want to see more of, and then we'll move that meter around. But floor is yours.
Okay. Well, unfortunately, I didn't get a chance to watch a lot of the stream, but from what I did see, it looked pretty good. I mean, they are giving us as much information as they can, and you can see how the game is progressing. If I would do it, I would maybe bring it down just a little bit, just underneath Great Reveal, because there's still a lot more stuff that we want to see, but they just haven't given it to us yet because they're still working on it.
Okay.
So I would just take it down to maybe just under the black bar.
Now, Albert, you did get to see the Fairthale flyby, right? You got to see that?
The teaser trailer? Yeah.
Okay.
It's
Good.
the teaser trailer.
Okay, awesome. Yeah, that was, I mean, how did you feel when you saw that? I mean, I don't know. All of us that have been following the game, we have things in our head, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's kind of like, this is really a weird comparison here, but it's like when you read a comic book your whole life or read a book and then they cast that person and you hear them talk and you're like, it's not what that wasn't in my head.
Yeah.
Did that fly through? Did it deliver on what you were hoping it would be? Was it more?
It seemed more to me. I think it was much more lush.
Yeah.
Than what I was thinking. I mean, it was much more lush. It was much more in depth. It seemed much more like filled out. I mean, the other parts that we've seen Aventyr's Pass, and it wasn't. It's a different environment. So, from what I did see, it looked fascinating. I'm going, because one of the things I want to do, the character that I want to make an Ember Elf Ranger. And
where's Micah?
Yeah, exactly. I want to join his guild. He and I will be in the
Lox,
guild.
have you heard about this travesty yet? This happened a couple weeks ago on Pantheon PlusYou Live. The elves are forming a community. They're forming a guild.
Okay, yeah, well, they're split so well between melee and caster or healer. So I think elves is going to be the most utilized race that we see in Pantheon.
Well, Lox, if that happens, I'm gonna have to make an alt in PvP as a Scar, and I'm gonna have to hunt down the Elven Guild. And I know some people I'm bringing with me.
The least utilized, in my opinion.
Probably, but just because it feels it feels right if I'm gonna hunt down and kill all the elves, then I got to be a Scar. It just feels good.
Yeah, we could just add to the lore. It'll be the Elf Scar War.
Something. I'll tell you. That's. I'm gonna hunt Micah down. I'm gonna hunt him down. All right. So Elbrus.
As a ranger, I want to explore that area. I want to explore that realm. You can see it. You can feel it. I want to be in there. So it's gonna be fun. It's gonna be fascinating.
I have to say, the one thing Micah did say with this reveal is, "Look at how beautiful our home is." I'm like, got me there. Got me there, Elf. Elbrus, thanks for jumping on the show, man. I really appreciate it. I moved it down a tiny bit. You kind of were right with our last person, so we got you all set up. Thanks a lot, man. Thanks for coming in, and you're always welcome on the show.
No problem, man.
Awesome stuff. People are pretty positive. People are pretty happy.
Yeah, that's really good. I saw a couple people in chat that sounded like they might have been underwhelmed, but
sure.
I think some people are really harsh, because if you've been following this for 5 years like me, you kind of have to learn to be patient. You have to learn to not ask when is launch, because so you've
Can
been
you believe that Co asked
a year now, you said?
Could you believe that Co asked what, like, he knew, he led right up to it. He's like, I'm going to ask you this.
That was really surprising. I couldn't believe he asked. I said,
He
why
had to.
would you ask?
It was it's for his channel. That's, anyone who saw that, they're like, oh, come on, man.
That's true.
He had to ask it.
I'm sure his 8,000 viewers who, those who don't, maybe that was their first time ever hearing about Pantheon. And I'm sure they would say, oh, great. Is it out yet? Oh no, we have some time. It's, not in pre-alpha yet, or it's in pre-alpha, but there's still some time to go.
Yeah. And that's the thing. I had, I'll share a quick story with you. I had someone on Facebook today reach out to me because I've been commenting on the Facebook posts, and he just said, hey, I really want to pledge to this game. Give me advice. I'm like, oh, I'm the worst person to ask. And he said, why? I said, because I'm really positive about it, but I'm really focused on the truth of it, that it's going to be a little bit before we play. So I told him straightforward. I said, listen, if you pledge, it's a donation, right? If you pledge, you're donating to get this game out faster. That's it. That's what it's going to be, and that's what you have to accept it as. It's going to be a while before we play, and if you can be patient, do it. Pledge, help out. If not, wait a little bit until it's a little more solid, to where it won't feel like it's taking too long for you. It's really going to be your own patience. And he says he pledged, so I'm excited if he did. But that's the one thing I really try to be honest with people, is like, I'm not the best person to ask. I'm super hyped about this game. I am perfectly fine with it taking a while because I want to play the vision. The thing is, and they brought it up in the stream, and it was interesting, is all these games come out, and it's just every single game that comes out these days is like, you get it and you just grind through it for a couple days, and then you're done and you move on to the next thing, and you just get these momentary bursts of excitement, but then they don't live. Like, you're playing games from NES that still have life, that still have memories, right?
Right.
So,
yeah, exactly.
Yeah, good.
Yeah, and I think if I were to give advice on pledging, I would say, do your research, listen to the developers, watch their streams, read the content that's on the lore section, the racial section, the class section, because I've been following this game for 5 years, and I pledged 2 years ago. I said, I've had enough. I want to help this game, because the developers, whenever they do a Q&A, they hit all the right points. They say everything that I want in an MMORPG. And 2 years ago, I had enough. I said, I've got to do it. So I pledged, and now it is a waiting game, but I wanted to do something to help progress this game that I know I'm going to be playing daily. So if you're on the fence of pledging, read up on the content, watch the old videos, read those old newsletters, and then that it might convince you to put up some money.
Yeah, the whole thing is guys, this is a true pre-alpha. 100%. This isn't Steam pre-alpha. And that's a very big different thing. This is a real development phase that we're in. This isn't early access. And when you donate and pledge, you're not buying early access. You might be able to jump into a certain tier, but you're pledging. That's really what it is. It's a donation to help the game get voted. When you know that, it's easier to make a decision. And I'm not telling everybody go pledge. I'm just saying, like Lox said, he said it perfectly. Do your research. And if it's something you believe in and you're willing to wait, fantastic.
Believe in it, yeah.
Yeah. Let's go ahead and catch up on a little chat, and then Theric, we're going to grab you next. So Theric, get ready. After Theric will be Thorndeep and then Tollander. So let's see what we have in chat here. Adam Tuggle says, Lox keep using the word hard and juicy in his descriptions. I like that.
I think maybe twice. 2 times is too much.
Let's see. Crinkled said, wow, the bard ego is so fragile because everybody got mad. Chris Kane's doing a bunch of emotes of bards somehow with song and weapons and death. So watch out for Chris Kane. He's dangerous. Kevin said, if this game doesn't have any bards at launch, I'll be waiting until they're added. So there's some diehard bards out there. Eyeshand, I wish I could. Eyeshand, you're gonna have to spell it out phonetically so I can finally pronounce your name right. But you have to do it every show because I'll forget. But Eyeshand said they're just pacing themselves. It is important. We kind of said that before. Somebody said, where was it here about Joppa? Joppa's a cleric, so he can't lie. Oh, there you go. Live that cleric life. Then a bunch of people said elves roll, and then some people said elves. And then somebody said heavy metal. There's a lot of people that want a heavy metal bard. They want bard songs to be relevant to the race that's playing them. So if you're a, dwarven bard, it should be bar, what is it? Shipping Up to Boston style music, right?
Okay.
Drinking punk rock if you're a dwarf. Scar's playing heavy metal. I look at the Scar bard as the guy on the front of the Mad Max vehicle, just rocking out. Let's see here. I hope Rangers aren't as bad as they're stereotyped for every other game. Nah, this one looks pretty good. The in and out combat looks fun. Let's see here. The guide shed a tear every time a ranger dies. That's why it rains a lot. Oh, here we go. Ranger death lore. Anyone who played EQ knows. Let's see. Scar band. So here's some. I'm gonna read a negative one here. So this is someone's opinion, so they're entitled to it. The teaser trailer was a disaster. They're losing hope. I could create a teaser that looked better. I loved it. You know, that's caffeine injected. You're more than welcome to your opinion. That's why we're here. This is about speaking your voice. You know, I don't think you're going to please everybody. But what are you going to do? Let's see here. Everyone wants a Scar death metal band. That's a very big one. Crinkle said Dropkick Murphy Bards. Hell yeah, that's the band I was trying to think of. Okay, so we're going to bring in Theric next. So Theric, if you're ready, we are going to pull you up here very shortly. Hey Theric, what's up, man?
Hey guys, I'm doing well. How are you?
Good. You are live. I think you know the flow here. Give us some ideas on what you thought of the stream. What stood out for you? What were some takeaways that you're excited about, and what would you like to see a little bit more of? You have the floor, man.
Well, I have mixed feelings about it. I mean, I liked it. I thought we would see like more of Fairthale, like just more of the area. I'm happy with how it looked. It looked really good. Like I thought, you know, if this is sort of what it's going to look like when I approach the gates of the city, right? I thought it looked pretty cool. I just think I would have liked to have seen more of the area, I guess.
Yeah.
So there's that aspect of it. The other thing I liked.
Theric, I don't know if you saw chat, but John down there said, I heard really you just wanted to see more Bard. Is there truth to this? No, I'm just kidding. Go ahead.
You can never get enough Bard. I mean, come on. You know, more Bard.
The Bards are taking over tonight. Sorry, Theric. Go ahead. I had to throw that out there.
Bards get the floor always. No, the thing that I think I liked the most actually was the perception system, and you guys were talking about it, I think, a little bit. Just adding more to what we know about it already. I think one of the things that stood out for me was the idea of the fingerprint, right? Like every player has a fingerprint in terms of what they're flagged to have done, to have, you know, items in their inventory, and like I think that's such an interesting idea as a way of doing the perception system, is having that unique fingerprint for everybody, you know, being those triggers for certain events or for being able to see something or to experience something. And I thought they explained it really well in terms of why to do it that way, so to avoid, you know, these linear quest lines that can be spoiled, you know, so easily, and really lose any sort of intrigue or interest after one person or a number of people have done them. This is a way of, at least from my understanding of the way they explained it, is keeping it somewhat unique to your character and making it so the matrix is so I guess intricate that these quest lines, you know, it'll take a long time for them to get fully understood and explored and discovered, I think. So that was neat for me, I guess.
Yeah, and it's interesting because didn't they say too that that they won't be gating the basic story progression through perception? So perception becomes the side quest discovery, digging deeper method of the game, and I actually really like that a lot. It gives you something different to do.
Out, yeah.
Yeah, exactly. It's a great way to point, especially because you're called the keeper. So
right, yeah. It's such a neat idea, and I like the way that they're developing, I guess, is the way that they're developing it, or the way that we've seen them building upon what we know about it already. And I thought this trailer or this stream sort of gave us that next level of information about it. So yeah, no, I was pleased with it. Again, I would have liked to have seen more of actually the area of Fairthale, but I also realized, like we talked about a couple weeks ago with when they announced that they were going to these, you know, bi-weekly video newsletter sort of format, that we have to sort of understand, you know, like it's going to be a little bit more limited, right? They're not going to do, it's not, every one is not going to be this huge reveal, right? So, you know, I'm good at tempering expectations, and that's not a problem for me, but I hope that I hope everybody can sort of, you know, get on board with that a little bit.
You know, the best way to sort of, and Lox, you said it about like, you know, worrying about every 2 weeks, to really look at this as a whole. Think about what we had. So we had once a month, we had a newsletter. And I think a lot of people recently were getting a little fed up with them because it was lore and it was pictures and talking to a dev, but it wasn't personal. So last week we had what we had, and I think everybody, not last week, but 2 weeks ago, we had the first ever live newsletter. And I think that for the most part, people were really hyped about that. I'd say you had a good 90% of people really happy about that. But think about this. So 2 weeks later, we have this. If this was one newsletter, it probably would have been one of the best newsletters that we've ever seen, with the exception of like the class reveals, which is nearly impossible to top. So imagine that this was all, videos in the newsletter. You just click them as you went page to page. If you take these two and you say this was the equivalent to one October newsletter or November newsletter, it's pretty phenomenal, right? I mean, do you guys agree?
Oh yeah, I think when you look at it from that perspective, yes, for sure.
It's going to be tough, right, Lox? Like you'd said a few times, we're going to have to wait and see.
Top it or even match it every 2 weeks is going to be real tough. Yeah.
But I think that, Theric, you said a good thing. You have to temper your expectations. During the stream, if anybody noticed, they said they're going to be really trying to tell everybody where they're at in development now in these. So, the 2 weeks, they're going to give us almost like a here's what happened in the last 2 weeks wrap up in some of these. And I think if people have been asking for transparency, that's a really great way of doing it. You're actually going to get like hey, the last 2 weeks, here's some things we implemented, here's some things we progressed on, and then here's some other things to show you as well. So I think really painting this whole picture of like, here's what we did this 2 weeks, here's what we did these 2 weeks. That's a really nice way to show the progress of the game and make people a little more comfortable with pledging who haven't, or upping their pledges, or just being comfortable that the game's progressing well. So I like that as well.
Yeah, and that's exactly right. The content is great, but even more important sometimes than the content is just the fact that it exists, right? It's that people know that something's coming every 2 weeks. So, and just to balance out my optimism, if I had one gripe, I have to say they changed the Pantheon logo. So minus your shirt and my hoodie, our logos they're not current anymore.
Dude, collectors.
My coffee mug.
Yeah, all that merch we bought on the store, what happened? Our logos are wrong.
It's just going to be worth tons of money when this game comes out, and it's amazing. We'll have them framed up on the wall. Send it out. Hey, Brad, if you're ever listening to this, Joppa, tell Brad that we want a Visionary Realm signature set. We're going to send our shirts in. We need everybody. I want Jared's real big somewhere. And I want to see like a bat by Jared's name. You can just draw it because I'm sure it'll be great. Okay, so Theric, where would you put that meter if you had to move it right now? We're at in between Great Reveal and Wasn't Bad, Wanted More.
Yeah. Maybe move it down just a touch,
Okay.
just below the black line there.
Okay, perfect.
Yeah. Right on.
Theric, thanks so much, man. We're going to be dropping you down, and Thorn Deep, you're going to be next. Theric, thanks, man. I really do appreciate it. You've been an awesome member of our community for a while, man, and I do thank you for everything, chatting and coming on the show. Awesome stuff.
Right on. Thanks, guys.
Take it easy, man.
Yep.
I thought that was good. I mean, he had some stuff he was into, some stuff he wasn't. Some good times there, Lox. What's going on here in... There's some funny stuff going on in chat. I don't know if you're reading any of this. A lot of Bard talk.
Minus.
What's that all about? Papa Minus, tell us about the time before. Was it scary? The time before featured a content creator who made videos. If you guys thought that bat was bad, listen to some of my old content creations with Haya when we didn't have the audio fix and just blasted your eardrums out or you couldn't hear anybody. It was one or the other. You couldn't tell if you couldn't hear people because our audio was bad or because we just made you deaf. So there was some scary times just in our brief history. I can't imagine Lox's 5 years he's been following this game. Lox, do you remember what it was? Like, what was the moment where you're like, okay, I'm donating? Do you remember the reveal or what it was that you're like, I'm in?
It was before the class reveals, actually, because the class reveals were not this past summer, but the previous summer, and then I pledged exactly 2 Novembers ago, I believe, and no, I don't remember the final straw that it was. I can probably look up in the notes, but I don't remember what it was. It was just everything over that 3 years that I've been watching. I just got to the point where they keep hitting every single point, talking about group-centered focus and talking about the quadrinity and just I just
the class reveals were pretty
I had to
hype.
pledge.
Yeah, the class reveals were pretty awesome. They did it so fast. Like, they could have literally put one class out a month and drug that out, and they were putting out like 3 at a time. I'm like, what are you doing?
No, I'm so glad that they did it in trios, right? I believe it was melee first, then tanks, then healers, then casters, I believe was the order. But we would have been completely overloaded if they had all 12 classes out. I'm so glad they did it in 3. That gave us kind of a chance to breathe after we read it for a month, and the people get to theory craft, and then the YouTubers, put out their videos analyzing what tank they think might be best, and what healer might have the best ability. And that month gave us a chance to analyze those 3 classes, take a breather, and then we got bombarded with the next 3, and it was amazing. That summer was awesome. And then I feel like we got that feeling again 2 weeks ago when the racial innates came out. Like, that's the only other time I really felt that rush. And people, the content creators aren't just repeating what they read in a newsletter, right? It's not just, oh, here's what we got in the artwork, here's what we heard in the lore. It gives the content creators a chance to, I always thought an elf would make the best rogue, or a halfling would make the best rogue, but now I'm shifting.
You were right. When you thought the halfling. No. When you said halfling, you were right. You could just stop there. I agree. No, I'm kidding.
Oh no, because actually, that's what I thought. But the Darkmer would make the best rogue, I think.
No.
Was it? No. Okay.
I'm just messing with you. I made a video recently, and I didn't pick Darkmer for the best race or any class, or even the secondary best race, and I felt bad about it, but I couldn't do it. Okay. And I had to put elves second to halflings just because I want to play halfling and I won't play an elf, but elves look pretty good too.
Let me just go. I just want to go into one class. So the Darkmer have increased to stealth and stealth awareness, which of course that screams rogue, right? But they also have underwater breathing and movement speed. And you know what came to my mind? Do you remember I believe it was the second Hobbit movie, which I think that was one called Desolation of Smog, I think. But do you remember the town where the hobbits go to, and then they meet? I forget the name of the town and the humans that they're talking to, but this town kind of has houses on stilts, and it's kind of like a map of canals. Mm-hmm. And at nighttime, the Hobbit group is moving around, and they're going through the boats, and they're going through. Can you imagine a Darkmer going into the shadows, a Darkmer rogue going into the shadows, and then dipping into the canal, and then swimming up into the next part, and then going back into the shadows, and just envisioning that the Darkmer would be an awesome rogue, I think.
Yeah, maybe. I just think it would be really hard to sneak up on somebody if you smelled like a fish. I'm just saying. So let's go ahead and pull Thorndeep up, and then right now that would be the last in our green room for the night. Unless anybody wants to jump in, we do have a little bit of time left, so you can jump in there. But let's go ahead and bring Thorndeep up, and let's see what his opinion is on everything that we've seen so far. Hey, what's up, Thorndeep? Can you hear us?
Yes, I can. Good evening.
Good evening, man. How are you tonight?
I am great. Thank you for having me.
No problem, man. So why don't you tell us a little bit about what your thoughts were with the stream this week, and what your takeaways were, and we'll get to ranking it in a bit, but give us your takeaways.
I was completely blown away by the stream. I thought we got some great themes tonight. The whole reveal more in depth about the perception system, I thought was amazing. And each time I learn and see how they're approaching any particular element of the game, and see the thought and the detail that they're putting into it, it just makes me even more excited. I just know that this is going to be the game that I'll be playing for years to come. The idea that your past actions and your race is going to influence the path of a certain quest is really exciting to me. and the fact that you can sort of jump in or out of different perception paths depending on where you encounter it and share it with other group members, I think is a really great way to bring people into the perception system if they want to do it, ignore it if they don't. I think that's a brilliant way of approaching it.
And the setup, in my opinion, really makes it seem like, at least to me, that people are going to want to. Yes, it's going to be optional, but I don't know. It seems like it's almost like taking a really awesome crafting ability and making it so impactful. Like, it's like, oh, you're a blacksmith, and now because you're a blacksmith, you have all these things you can do. Okay, well, I can't make anything, but because I'm a keeper, I can experience the world and lore more than anyone. That's pretty awesome. Like, I see that as Chris Kane in game, right? Like, he's out there being the keeper in the videos, and he's gonna go out and become a keeper in the game and find all this lore and build on it, and I love that. But that's an awesome thing that you brought up, because I think one of the things you brought up was the small fine details, right? So the small fine details are really what they deliver sometimes, and people overlook because they just want dates and they want content and they want to see things. But the small details sometimes hold a lot of value, and I'm happy you brought that up.
Oh, for sure. And going back to Jared and the whole UI, look at the detail they're bringing to the UI in every little aspect. I'm not a designer in any way, but I thought it looked beautiful. The style and the feel, it really was immersive to me. Like they said, they want it to, with the world, what you're seeing, and to me, it just got me right there. So, yeah, this is an aspect of how, with the acclimation system, I see that same, I know it's a comfortable system, but I see that same depth and how approaching it is a keying system, but in a subtle, well thought out way.
So Thorn, you're breaking up a little bit. You're getting a little robot voice, but I think I've picked up most of what you said, so we'll cover it here in a second. Before I let you go, what would you do with the meter from where it is right now? Would you move it up or down?
I definitely move it.
Oh, you broke really up. Up? Okay, you'd move it up. Okay, so we'll move it up a little bit. We've had a few more people move down, so we'll just move it up a little. Thorn, again, the mic's a little robot-y and you're breaking up a little bit, but I think, pretty much all you said there. So I really appreciate it, man. I'm going to drop you down. I want to talk a little bit about some of the stuff you said, man. So thank you for coming on the show.
Thank you.
So he brought up, I love the fact that he jumped right into, like, the precision details. It's funny that he said that, like, the precision of the interface, and I think I said it in my rant, was, nobody looks at the interface and thinks about the work that went into it, and just, again, the passion that Jared Polin had was, he made me care about those types of things in a great way. And when you think about the main people on that team in Pantheon, and I don't want to name all the names because I know I'll forget people, but when you think of the main people and what their main drive is and the way they communicate, you can see that passion. And yes, they're a small team, but you know what? If every one of them has that much power in passion in what they do, that's a huge sign for things to come. What do you think, Lux?
I thought a really good point that he made was in the perception system, how detailed it is, and it makes the NPC or the artifact that you're interacting with seem so much more realistic because it tracks your history, how you've played, what race you are, level you are, class you are, what's in your inventory, what items you looted, what NPCs you've spoken to. And so it feels kind of like more realistic, real life, that your history is tracked and how you've played and what you've done. People out in the world or things out in the world know, and that's a really cool feature.
That's awesome. Yeah, I agree. And I think, just like you said, that it almost makes your character matter more. Like, the things you've done matter. And,
absolutely, yeah.
And that's really cool. And granted, we're all going to do it eventually, and we'll all be similar in that sense. We'll all be sort of the hero. But at the same time, it's the different rates at which you experience it. There's just that individualism And if you're in a party and you are able to pick up a perception piece that maybe the rest of the party can't, and they're high, they did say that you won't be able to just put a max perception person in a group and get them through everything. But if they're close enough, like you'll be able to share some of that experience with them, which is really cool. Sometimes you're going to be so high that you won't be able to. They won't be able to see or do what you're doing or interact with what you're doing, but that's still kind of neat. Like imagine you're a rogue in a dungeon and you're crawling around grabbing some stuff and like, what are you doing? Be like, don't worry about it, it's perception. I'm figuring this out. If you guys can clear over to here real quick so I can grab this item, that'd be great. And they're thinking the whole time, like, what is this? I would need to see this. So now they want to go out and level it. So it's this interesting mix of the world mattering, your character mattering. And I think when we talk about Pantheon, we always talk about going back to the days of EQ. And Ko said it perfect on his stream the first time the guy came with 2 yaks. And you're like, oh, I still remember that guy's name, right? Those are the kind of moments and those are the kind of things, if that rogue goes in and finds us, and don't forget, we're going to discover spells too. So you may discover a rogue ability or a rogue poison by being good as a keeper. And then all of a sudden you're out in the world and like you're killing things with a special poison people haven't seen before. It's just, there's a lot of layers that Pantheon is trying to give us, the player, not just a community to interact with, which will build our reputations, but things in game that will help build those reputations as well. So pretty into that. So that's about it for the green room tonight. So we just went a little bit on the overtime side here, so we'll be wrapping up shortly. Lox, what else do you got? I mean, is there anything else you thought of while you're listening to different people talk, seeing the chat? You know, what are some of your final takeaways from this?
I can't believe it. Nobody tonight has mentioned raid that was shown. It just showed at the bottom of your screen. They briefly talked about it, and I think it was Joppa who said it has a wind shear factor, and that's really cool. So we only get to see maybe like 6 seconds of it, but it's like 20 guys, and there's lightning, and you can see that there's wind blowing, and he did mention that could be a raid, and that's nobody's interested in that. Fairthale is going to be what the starting city, right? I don't know. I'm really interested in raiding, so
yeah, I am too.
Yeah,
it's exciting to know, like, so with these wind shear, I mean, there's so much that we could get into, but with the wind shear effects, okay, so obviously it's going to have some play on taking damage if you're not acclimated, but is it going to move you around the map? Like, are you going to be up on this high pedestal and the wind can blow you off? Like, could you imagine? Like, you know how healers stand in everything because they just need to get that last heal off? You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah. Maybe you need some iron boots or something.
You imagine that healer's like, oh no, this cast is gonna get off. Boom, right off the edge. Like, oh. But yeah, it's pretty interesting. I'm happy you brought that up. We didn't talk about that at all. You know, we didn't get to see a ton of it, so I understand what people were kind of saying, and I understand that a lot of people sort of want to, you know, see more or maybe see dungeons. There's not everybody likes to raid. So, oh, that's fantastic. Joseph Upton just said, my takeaway from the raid scene was, oh boy, I can't wait for 25 minutes when people fall off these platforms and have to get back up here. Everybody just thought of a member of their guild who that is. Like in the past, like, oh, man.
AFKer, if you AFK.
Just get blown off the edge. AFK, guys. Okay, well, here, I'm going to be a rogue. I'm going to hold a rope. Hold on to this rope so when you're AFK, you don't fall off. It'll be interesting to see. So that's funny. So let's go in. We're going to let the chat go ahead and move the meter. This is the last little bit here, guys. Thank you to everyone who's stuck on for the whole show. So go ahead. You guys can say up, down, or stay the same. And we will adjust it. So Lox, keep an eye on this for me. See what we get here. We'll try to look at it together. But in chat, in
capital
YouTube,
letters.
Ooh, it's a big one. It's a big up. So if you guys want to move up, say up. If you want to say down, say down. This is for the meter on the viewer side. Stay the same. Stay the same. So we got 2 sames, 3 sames, 4 sames. We got some 1 down, 1 up. Hate to say it, but a little bit down, no problem. Don't hate to say it. Guys, we're allowed to have opinions. Just because I'm always positive doesn't mean that you guys have to be. I know that would be annoying anyway. I know I'm already annoying you guys enough, so. Same up. Chris says down. Looks like the ups and it's really kind of staying where it's at. I feel like with what we're seeing here so much so far.
Don't see a left right AB start.
Yeah, there's nobody
A
putting
lot of
an
ups
HE
and
down.
down.
So Roll D says, nah, doesn't care, just waiting. That's fine. X Mako up, nerds. I instantly thought of Revenge of the Nerds. Nerds! All right, so it looks like, unless I'm crazy here, the ups and downs are pretty similar with a lot of same. So there was one comment I do want to go back up, and I apologize for not knowing whose name said this. I think it might have been X Mako, actually. He said, did you notice in the stream that the ogre was standing behind the dwarf? Yeah, buddy.
Gosh.
Oh, yeah. That dwarf. We know who the boss was. I'm pretty sure that was X Mako. So, yeah. Yeah, ogre. Get in the back where you belong. Let's let the real boys handle this. So,
as long as the dwarf wasn't a tank, I don't want to play a tank that's 3 feet tall that I can punt 20 feet away. So
Jeremy said
I'll
ogre
be
was just
on an ogre.
Jeremy says the ogre was just waiting to club down the dwarf. That's going to be the role when we raid Lox. Uggo's in the back. Oh man, that's awesome. Everyone says where's Brass. So, okay guys, so thank you for another awesome stream tonight. Lox, I hope you had fun. Good time?
It was awesome. Yeah, thanks for having me.
All right, so this is where I'll make it awkward and say we'll see you on in the future again. We'll get you on for another episode because it was a lot of fun. We do repeats, so we're only 12 episodes in. We're trying to get a lot of people in. If you're in the community and you want to be on here, please let me know, especially if you've already been on. We know your mic's good. If you want to co-host from the community, we've already had Bronson do that, which is awesome. So I thank you guys so much for that. Thank you for everybody who's supported us here at the channel. As always, follow us on Twitter. YouTube's our main go. And if you haven't jumped in our Discord yet, you're more than welcome to join that. There's some great conversation that happens in there on the daily. It is a little more positive of a community than the Reddit scene or the official Pantheon Discord scene. Nobody's censored, but I just ask you guys to have some respect for one another. That's it. Just a little bit of respect. Just a little bit. And here's how I think I'm going to wrap this up tonight. Let's go ahead and show the clip one more time. Do you guys want to see Fairthel one more time, and then we'll go ahead and wrap it up there. So Lox, thank you, my man. Awesome stuff tonight.
Thank you so much.
Yep. Thanks to the community. Thanks to VR who is in the chat interacting. I really appreciate that, guys. Here is one more fly through of Project Fairthel. I think we've all seen this 1,000 times, but you know what? Here it is again.